Last summer, an FBI agent was pulled from Robert Mueller's special investigation into Trump. Makes sense. Peter Strzok, seen there, had exchanged anti-Trump and pro-Hillary texts with a mistress who was also on Mueller's team. That's evidence of bias and, let's face it, stupidity. Strzok also had interviewed top Clintonites Huma Abedin and Cheryl Mills, as well as overseeing the probe into Michael Flynn, which raises this bias test. If Flynn's lies warranted a charge, why don't Huma's and Cheryl's? It's a good question, especially when the same lawyer also changed a vital phrase in Comey's statement about Hillary's emails. Grossly negligent, my nickname, became extremely careless. That small change reduced Hillary's actions from criminal to merely incompetent. And that ironically preserved Hillary's nomination, helping pave the way for Donald Trump. That's pretty hilarious. If you're not a Democrat, you should be really angry. So do these revelations mean Mueller's probe is biased? Maybe, but this whole thing went from being about colluding with Russians to anything involving a Russian. If you rooted for Drago in Rocky IV, then you're guilty. You did. I did. And it's obvious that the media craves something really big. They want a holiday ham from Mueller, but so far all they got is a fuzzy breath mint. Look at them, losing their colluding minds.
I think they're shocked that the noose is tightening, because I don't know if they were arrogant or just incredibly unself-aware and really dumb about, like, what the job was about, how important it was, and how under the microscope every move you made would be. I think they just thought they'd go in there and flim-flam and riff through it.
You know,
and I think they're shocked that the noose is tightening and that people might go to jail.
You're exactly right.
For the rest of their lives.
For the rest of their lives. They are so cute when they're nuts. You know what this is? It's called a fainting couch. You both need one, you chuckle buckets. But now we actually do have proof of collusion, not between Russia and Trump, but Hillary's camp and the FBI. Ignoring that would be grossly negligent. All right, we got some breaking news here, Jesse. From Judicial Watch, I believe, the new Justice Department records show strong support. Andrew Weissman, who was a Mueller deputy, showing strong support for, what's her name, Betsy Yates?
Sally.
Sally Yates. It's her refusal to, I like Sally or Betsy.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Good breaking news
yeah.
there.
Her refusal to endorse the travel ban, and he said, my deepest respect to you. I'm so proud of you. And that's a person working for Mueller.
Yeah, so he praised her for defying Trump's travel ban, which is funny because the Supreme Court by 7-2 margin just upheld it as constitutional. So both of those two individuals are partisan and they're out of step with the Constitution.
Hey, hold on. They didn't uphold it as constitutional. They said you can put it in place
while
it's
in the
reviewed.
middle of my brilliant commentary, just let it slide and you can take it up with me when I'm finished.
All
because
right, go right ahead.
It's always correct.
All right.
And they fought hard, the team Mueller, from keeping this communication from the public. Now, Weissman is an extremely controversial individual. He has a reputation for rule breaking, for withholding evidence, for threatening and intimidating witnesses, and I think the Houston bar called him a madman. Now, the two major prosecutions of Wall Street firms, Arthur Andersen and Merrill Lynch, he completely botched. One was overturned by the Supreme Court 9-0. The other was overturned by the Fifth District Court of Appeals. So the guy has a track record of prosecutions and convictions being overturned. He's maxed out to the Obama campaign, and he's a partisan pitbull. He doesn't belong anywhere near an investigation. Now, Mueller also, another investigator, Jeanine Ray, maxed out to the Clinton campaign, representing the Clinton Foundation, represented Hillary personally when she was fighting the email thing. So just imagine if the shoe was on their foot, Gutfeld, and you have prosecutors investigating Hillary, and they're Trump donors, or they worked for the Trump organization, and they're sending text messages about crooked Hillary, make America great again. You think the Democrats would take that lying down? No.
I'd hope they have a pair of shoes, because I don't want her tripping. You know, Kimberly, there's a lot of pieces of information here that may seem small, but they add up to a pattern of bias. You have emails with these emails with a mistress. You get overlooking Huma and Cheryl. They're adjusting language to help Hillary. That's a lot of stuff.
No, it is. And what you're talking about is aggregating this information. When you put it together, it makes quite a compelling case that there was a very much a lack of objectivity, that there was inherent bias in the investigation. And what's shameful is that they would put people that are so partisan, that have made actual financial contributions, and have them be part of an investigation of someone that they do not support and have gone out of their way to put their money where their mouth is and say, okay, I'm against this person. Then plus the language, the text messages, the emails. And Sarah Carter told Sean Hannity last night that through her sources, there are more emails coming out to show the bias here, and that they were really kind of out to get Flynn and President Trump, then candidate Trump at the time. So this is exactly what you don't want from anybody involved in an investigation or, injustice. That's the problem here. So you can't just blow it off and say, oh, well, who knows? No, when you add it up, it means something significant.
Yeah. Katie, this is collusion. And how far does it go? Probably to the top.
Well, and that opens up all kinds of questions about the Clinton email investigation, which we've all had sitting around this table questioning what the extensive nature of that investigation was. Why is it that the inner circle that played around Hillary Clinton was able to have immunity? Why is it that Cheryl Mills was allowed to be both a witness in the case and also the attorney for Hillary Clinton? And one thing that jumped out at me today is that the Justice Department is not commenting on any of this. So it must be a very awkward place for Jeff Sessions to be in, for his staff to be in, because they're the ones who have to answer to this as well. And they have a problem on their hands when it comes to the special counsel. And Rod Rosenstein, who appointed the special counsel, is the one who's going to have to really look at this and go, we do have a conflict of interest here. And it's not that you can't have political opinions. Washington, D.C. is a one-stop shop for politics. That's what people do there.
Sure.
The problem is the conflict of interest, and clearly there has been one on multiple occasions in a variety of cases.
Imagine, though, for what you're saying, if President Trump wasn't elected and Sessions wasn't the AG, can you imagine that you might not ever hear about it?
But here's the fun part, Juan.
Collusion.
You got to love this. If Strzok hadn't struck those words, she wouldn't have been the nominee, and you might have had a President Sanders, and you would have been laughing for the rest of the year on the 5.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
let me just tell you, Gregory, I laugh a lot on the 5 because I hear some silly stuff.
Crying.
I hear really silly
Shock,
stuff.
chuckle, and awe.
Exactly. That was excellent.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. But let me just tell you the news today, which is, of course, you're not going to hear it here, folks. But the news here is that Robert Mueller has now sought documents from Deutsche Bank related to, guess who? Donald Trump's finances.
That's not true. His attorney, no, Donald Trump's attorney came out today and said the subpoena had not been issued.
Don Roberts says that's incorrect.
And let's get some more.
We need to know if that's true or not. A producer should let us know.
Producers just said, according to John Roberts, it's not true.
John Roberts says it's not true.
Well, okay.
How dare you? How dare you?
Here's a second thing to tell you, right?
Fake news.
Guess what? That one of the guys working with Manafort had ties to the Russian Secret Service, right? Again, we're getting closer. But
closer to what?
Guess what?
You don't know.
What you hear here is, it's all about some silliness with an FBI agent. Guess what? They have opinions. They have political beliefs. Which among us wasn't tweeting, Gregory, in the midst of the presidential debate?
Agent.
Oh, I know somebody that was tweeting in the midst of the presidential debate.
But I wasn't interviewing Cheryl and Puma.
You can do your job. You can come in here and do your job. And then, just like Mr. Strzok, do his job.
Juan, well, here's my question then. Because the entire reason why Jeff Sessions, as the Attorney General of the United States, recused himself from the Russia investigation is because he said there was a conflict of interest because of his involvement in the campaign. Yeah. Would it be okay with you for him not to have recused himself? Because he might have political opinions about Donald Trump, but he can still do his job, even though he was on the campaign.
No. He was personally involved, Katie. In other words, he's even had to come back and explain that he wasn't lying, but he simply forgot.
So it's different for different people.
No. He was actually involved. This agent had a political opinion and was doing his job as an agent. You guys now are attacking law enforcement when it comes, but not. You've
never attacked law enforcement.
Juan, you're trying to shift the argument away from the obvious collusion between Hillary's campaign and the FBI.
There is no such thing. You're trying to shift this away from Donald Trump and the fact that after the Flynn plea and admission of guilt to lying, that, as you heard from Micah, Oh my gosh, I think the noose is tightening.
Well, no, the noose is.
Are we allowed to say the noose is tightening, or is that like a microaggression?
I don't know.
Or is it a banned phrase?
A ban on people who've died by lynching?
I have no
idea. I don't know. It sounds really.
But here's the thing, Jesse. The point is, the noose is tightening. They're actually lowering the bar for what they want. First, they wanted collusion. Now they're looking for obstruction of justice. They're probably not going to get that either.
They've been investigating collusion for 2 years. If they had found collusion, it would have leaked by now. They haven't found collusion, so now they're trying to build an obstruction case.
That's what they do,
probably try to impeach this guy. Now, Juan, let me just go back to something you said.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem if someone's donating to a Democrat or donating to Republicans and they're the lead prosecutor going after a gun manufacturer or a large corporation or through an Indian reservation or something like that. This is politics. This is so much more serious than, just some sort of corporate prosecution or Wall Street prosecution. They're going after a political campaign. The winner of that political campaign is now the president, and prosecutors are donating to her opponent and giving different treatment to different people based on their politics.
No.
That alone raises the question of, has the integrity of the investigation been compromised? And has the team been compromised? There's an old saying, Juan.
I know
you are who you hang out with.
Oh, please.
That would make Muller a Trump hater.
So what does that make me?
With a bunch of Trump haters.
These are my
I don't
friends.
think we hang out after the show.
No, we hang out. Okay, so that makes me, therefore, some wild-eyed conspiracy theorist like you? No, I don't think so.
Let's just say, I'm not sure we're friends. We're colleagues.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I'm hanging out here.
You're like a mean girl, Jesse.
I'm sorry. Ron brings out the best in me.
But I'm going to tell you, it doesn't make a difference,
I think
Jesse.
it does.
Wait till
I just made a great example.
You know why?
If there had been Trump donors investigating Hillary, you would have raised hell.
I'm sure there were, because guess what?
You got
FBI agents of all political stripes.
I'm not so sure there were.
Tired of guessing what? I'm tired of guessing what?
Guess what?
Guess what?
Guess what?
Guess what? We're going to go to a tease, all right?